Hello guys. Before I go and take a very needed nap, um, there's something very amazing about Genesis chapter 2 that I just can't seem to let go because it's just something that's not really talked about. Or not that I've heard, but if you ever go to Genesis chapter 2, you read that you know God made man first before he made woman. But if you also read, he makes animals first before he makes the woman. And what was so intriguing to me was, why did he make animals first besides the woman? Because in the Bible, it talks about how Adam, um, it felt like he was missing something. Like he's with God, but he's missing someone, flesh is his flesh, bone of his bone. And God, God is, you know, omnipotent. He is literally knowledge itself. He's wisdom himself. He knows exactly what Adam wants. But God doesn't give Adam what he wants first. God gives him a very, very powerful blessing. And I know this may seem like I'm prolonging it, but guys, I'm actually like fatigued and exhausted, but like the reason why I'm so exhausted is because what I'm about to say is something that the devil doesn't want you to know, which is why I'm out of nowhere just exhausted. But see, Adam had the power and authority to name every animal known to man. Every animal that we know today. Even the animals that we don't even know about. Think about that. Adam named every animal. That still applies today. But something else that was intriguing to me, something that it's like you miss it because it's so duh. He also named woman. He also named his own wife. But see, that is something that's so profound that um it's still hard for me to wrap my brain around it. Because if I was to ask you what was Eve's first name, a lot of people would not know what her name was. Because everybody thinks that Eve's first name was Eve, but her first name was actually woman. That was her first name, woman. And we see that Adam has his name, which is Adam, but he also has another name as well, which is the fallen one, because he fell to temptation. And Eve received the name of Eve because of the sin that she committed and the curse that God placed on her. And if you don't believe me, we can go to Genesis chapter 2. Because I had to tell someone that I was dating, that's a newborn Christian. And like when I asked her, she said, she said, I said, what do you think her name was? And she said Moses. And at that point, I was just, that was so funny to me. That was, cause she doesn't know the Bible, but you know, that's fun. Oh, my mistake. So in Genesis chapter 3, not 2, sorry. Uh, it says that the name of Eve. No, let me find it. Uh, Let me look for it because I had to do the same thing with her. Um, And it says in verse 20, chapter 3 in Genesis, and Adam called his wife named Eve because she was the mother of all living. But if we go to Genesis chapter 3, and it says, let me see. Oh my goodness. Doing this while tired is not easy. No. I think I might have been right. Okay. Genesis chapter 2, verse 23. And it says, and Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. See, we use that verse for many different things, but if you really look at it, it literally says that she shall be called woman. That's her name. That's her first name, is called woman. But in chapter 3, verse 20, it says that Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. You guys, the message today is a lot of us guys, men, are always searching for the Eve instead of the woman. And it's vice versa. A lot of women, females, are looking for the fallen Adam instead of instead of Christ, or the perfect Adam, the new man, the new Adam. And that'll go over a lot of people's heads because they don't understand spiritual talk. And the Bible even talks about that. But what I'm here to tell you is that the reason why the world is becoming harder and darker, and it's harder to find a partner, your wife and your husband, is because you're looking at the wrong thing. You're looking at the wrong thing. Instead of looking at the flesh, ask God to show you their spirit. Because I kid you not, a lot of people's wives are so much in flesh that it's very easy to overlook them. And a lot of females or women's husbands are so much in flesh that they overlook them because of their flesh. And it can go either way. It could work. Sometimes you see so much spiritual that you don't see the flesh, and it can strike fear in you. It can raise questions. It can raise anxiety, fear. It can raise sin, all to keep you away from a blessing. Because something that what's revealed to me is that you can't stop a blessing that God wants to give you, but you can run away from it. And that's not and that's not something to take lightly, because Jonah was blessed enough to give a warning to people that were going to be destroyed, but he chose to run away from the blessing because of what he felt, because of his emotions. And I'm here to tell you guys, there are a lot of people right now who are going to do some things to you that are unfair. And when I say unfair, I mean like just downright malice, downright evil, downright just petty. But if you stick close to God, you will actually learn that when God tells you to do something, you can always ask the question of why, and just knowing why, even if it's just part or a portion, it can actually give you a lot of peace and clarity and understanding, to the point that that person that you cannot endure at all because you were at your ends with, you now have more grace for. Because even though Adam never got to see what happened if he had taken accountability when he had bitten the apple, he still stuck by his wife. But it never says in the Bible that God wouldn't have made him another woman if he had just did the right thing, because God is so graceful that we don't understand how it works sometimes, even though it's very in our face. And that word is very profound, more than I could really unravel, because honestly, guys, that can mean, this message can mean many things for different people, because the rain falls on the just and the unjust. However, the rain means has different meanings for different people. For someone like me, if I was a farmer, that rain could be a beautiful blessing. But somebody that is driving, that rain could be what causes their wreck. You know, for somebody that lives in the outskirts, that rain could cause a flood. You know, that rain can be good, and it can be also judgment. You just have to have discernment to know which one it is. So this message is for anybody, I guess, that God brings you to this video, even if it's just one person. And I'll keep saying that in every video, because the thing is, many people will not enter into the gates of heaven, not because God doesn't want you there, not because I don't want you there. To know that many people will fall to their sin, it grieves me greatly. But the reason why many people won't inherit the kingdom of heaven is because everybody is focusing on making it to heaven and not making it to heaven. Or making it to heaven and not going to hell, that they don't really have a relationship with God, because the only thing that's keeping them going to church is fear. Like, fear. And fear can work both ways. There are people that go to church because of fear. There's people that don't go to church because of fear or hurt or bitterness or resentment, whatever that it is. And I believe that may be another word for another time. But I'm here to tell you guys that as much as you think that you know God, you don't know him at all. But he can give you a portion, he can give you a sample that is so entree looking, that in totality is actually just a sampler. It's just an appetizer. So when he actually brings you the entree, there's no way that you can eat it right then and there. You have to take it home. And you have to eat on it for a while, because the appetizer that he gave you was so blessed. Anybody that watches this video, I hope that it blesses you, and I hope that you guys really seek into prayer, because prayer is going to be needed for these last years on earth. Not to strike fear into anybody, because anybody that really walks with God knows that the world is not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And you are either going to be in the blessing of it, or you're going to be in the judgment of it. So I pray that the Lord will give you guys insight, guidance. He will place the fear of the Lord in you, and that not only will he stir up your spirit, but he will also show you the power of prayer, and why prayer is so important, and why fasting, praying, repentance, and just understanding that as much as you think that you know, you really don't know. And you can learn from anything. God can teach you through anything. Never be so focused that you can't see everything else, and never be so open that you don't see God's focus. So I hope that blesses you guys, and I hope that you guys have a beautiful night. You guys be blessed, man.